Welcome to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living, a podcast that features enlightening conversations with experts in the medical field that helps to improve the health and well-being of those suffering from chronic pain due to injury. Learn from leading authorities the questions you should be asking to experience pain-free living. Hosted by father and son, Dr. Derek Taylor and Dr. Hudson Taylor, and joined by industry professionals in the health field, including doctors of integrative medicine and personal injury attorneys. Enjoy well-rounded and informative conversations to help you get out of pain while achieving optimal wellness. Dr. Derek Taylor and Dr. Hudson Taylor are the doctors of Taylor Chiropractic and Laser Center in Florida and California. Both father and son duo have earned respect and a solid reputation for successfully helping people transform their lives by assisting them to discover the hidden causes of their painful health challenges, leading them to experience the resolution of their problems using the Taylor Method. Tune in each week to learn about the Taylor Method, Dr. Taylor's proprietary technology that looks at the whole person and identifies the root cause of pain while facilitating natural healing and helps to restore the body to optimal wellness without using drug injections or surgery.
Okay, welcome to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living. My name is Dr. Hudson Taylor, and today we have not a guest, he is also the co-leader in this podcast, Dr. Derek Taylor, who is also my father, the pioneer of the Taylor Method treatment, which he mentored me in, for the years leading up to this very day, and just really a pioneer in just creating a really effective method for maximal pain relief and results. So what an honor it is to have you on, Dad. And obviously, we interview other people, but this is such a great opportunity just to interview you and your journey and just the Taylor Method and really to explain what it's all really about. So tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from and just your background and why the Taylor Method.
Well, we decided to do this podcast just because, we're doing this podcast and we're having guests on the show, and it's called the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living. But then I just realized there's a lot of people that don't know what the Taylor Method is. And so it might be a good idea to give them a little background, a little better understanding about what the method is all about. So it goes back to me becoming a chiropractor, similar story to yours, son, in regards to we were both injured in a football injury, and we both had good results with chiropractic, and we were both, had miraculous type results. We were inspired. We were like, wow, this is something I want to do for the rest of my life. And that's what happened to me. In my junior year in high school, I injured my back so bad that I could barely walk, and I thought I was done for the season. So I went to a chiropractor, and he actually made it worse. And I was just petrified of chiropractic, and I was really discouraged, telling everybody, don't go see chiropractors, but nothing else was working. So I went to a different chiropractor. He used a different approach, and I had a miraculous recovery. And I said, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And so I went from being as soon as I knew that I wanted to become a chiropractor, I went from being a straight C student. I think my average in high school, I played football and I goofed off and I really didn't take academics seriously. But then when I knew that this is what I wanted to do, I wanted to be the best that I possibly could with the God-given abilities that God had given me. And I wanted to maximize that. So I just poured myself into studying. I went from straight C's to straight A's. I graduated magna cum laude in my class, voted most likely to succeed by my classmates. And when I graduated from school, I thought I had the world by the tail. I was, they said you want to touch 1,000 bodies before you graduate. I remember I must have at least exceeded that by double, because at every opportunity when I can get my hands on somebody, I would be adjusting them. I would be going down to the park where there are illegal workers from Mexico there, and they would be lined up by the hundreds just waiting to get free chiropractic. I'm in my 4th or 5th term providing chiropractic care illegally. I shouldn't have been doing that. I didn't have a license, but they said you got to touch as many bodies as possible. So I thought I was really proficient at adjusting and doing well. I was the president of the Gonstead Society in my class and from school. And so when I graduated from school, I thought I was very proficient. I got a job in Ohio where we saw sometimes over 100 patients a day. We had about 2 to 3 minutes to spend with the patients. Me being proficient at adjusting, I thought, wow, okay, this is great. This is awesome. But then a lot of the patients didn't get better and some of them got worse. And this was discouraging to me. I kind of burned out, moved back from Ohio back to California, I hung my shingle. You were just born. You were about a year old. And I figured, okay, I'm here on my own now. I'm not employed. I got to fend for myself. And if I get people worse, I'm not going to have a business. So I went on this mad hunt to figure out how to get people better. And over the past decades, I've spent over $100,000 and hundreds of hours studying the latest in pain relief methods that would get the best results. I studied under thought leaders that were DOs, MDs, chiropractors, physical therapists, whatever. It didn't really matter to me. As they were getting results, I wanted to go to that seminar. So I went everywhere and I picked and chose the best things that I learned from these seminars. And I kind of threw out the stuff that didn't resonate with me. And then we kind of morphed it into the Taylor method, which is a mixture of a lot of different techniques that really gets down to the root cause. And the premise and a huge tool that we use is muscle response testing as a means to discover some of the root causes of where the problem is really coming from. And we've discovered that a lot of the problem comes from adhesive scar tissue. And to be frank, there's not a lot of people really addressing the adhesive scar tissue out there that's causing problems. And so this is what I think has allowed us to be fortunate enough to get really excellent results, because when you really handle that properly, we see miraculous results occur in the office. And you see that daily in the office there in Torrance, California. I see it daily in the office in Florida. And it's just a real blessing to be able to help people and get to the root cause, and not just identifying where the problem is, but then having the technology to resolve these issues, and getting to making permanent type changes in the scar tissue, and seeing things that we thought and most people think is not possible.
So you mentioned that you really burned out when you were seeing all those patients. And why did you feel like you were burning out?
Well, it's just discouraging. There was a fear of the unknown. I mean, you'd adjust one patient, they felt better, and the other person got worse. And you can't quantify that. You don't know the reason why. It's discouraging. It's like walking on eggshells. It's like walking in a room, somebody who is nice to you one moment, and the next moment they're biting your head off. Like, what am I going to get this time? Am I going to get Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde? So when you do an adjustment, is this person going to respond or is this person not going to respond? And so it was a mechanistic approach to chiropractic where we were doing everything they taught you in school. Okay, this one is stuck, push that one back into place. And sometimes that person would be better and sometimes they would be worse. But a lot of times, you weren't making a really significant change the way that you were hoping to. And that's where the beauty of the Taylor method came in, of having a method, a means to identify where the issue is, and knowing with certainty, a certain level of certainty. I mean, there are very few things in this world that are absolute and certain. But in regards to healthcare, this is a pretty we found to be a fairly accurate way of identifying where the problem is. And then we're not just guessing, right? Because you can show somebody, like if they have a pain right over here, and you use the method to figure out, I'm picking up that it's coming from over here and here, and then you clear that, and then that pain is gone. Well, you've just kind of demonstrated your hypothesis that was the issue. Anybody can say it's coming from here, but the proof of the pudding is in the eating, I always say. And then if the people are feeling better and if they get the results, well, that's an encouragement that you're on the right track in helping the person resolve their issue. And sometimes and oftentimes it may come back, but you have the layers you have to peel off. It's not going to happen. Didn't get like that overnight. It's not going to be fixed overnight. And so you got to take care of it. And some people respond quicker than others because they're healthier than others and other factors, as you know.
And when you open your own practice, what did you want to bring differently to the patients when you started seeing them that was different from the clinic in Ohio? I mean, you're talking about knowing where to go and technology. Is there anything else that you really wanted to just change in regards to the way you took care of the patients? Like how, for example, maybe you spend more time with them, or how
the goal is always to give them the results that they were looking for. And whether you're doing that, it takes you 30 seconds to do that, or whether it takes you 3 hours to do that, it doesn't matter to you and I, as long as they get the results and they're happy with that, right? So my goal is never, my goal is to spend more time with the patient. My goal is to make sure that they get a rub down every time, or make sure that they leave with a smile on their face. No, it's really about you using the method to make sure that you've done the best that you could to balance that body out as best as possible so they can go on to the next step and move towards recovery. And you're helping them in a profound way and getting them back on their feet faster than ever before.
And, what was it like just opening up your own clinic? How long, when you graduated from school, how long was it until you opened your own practice? Like 2 years or 3 years or 4 years?
So I was working in Ohio under the company that I was hired by for 3.5 years, and then opened up. I graduated in 93 and then opened up in 97 in Torrance. Yeah.
Got it.
So it was about a little over 3 years.
Wow.
Opened up. And so you were just 1 year old. We were living in an apartment in Lomita. I used to ride we only had one car. I used to ride my bike to work and then get ready at work there. And it was fun times. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I didn't know anything about business. I had a one big room. My Aunt Allie got rid of an old desk when she was working at Great Western Bank. She let me have that desk. That was my partition. Used it as a partition. It was a huge desk. I used it as a partition and my consult desk. And then I had 2 tables, one an adjusting table and one the therapy table to put people on hot packs. And that's how we started. And it was fun. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to run a business.
Oh, yeah.
The rest is history.
And you talk about technology now. What was the first? So, when you were in Ohio, you were adjusting patients with the table in your hands. And what was the first technology that you incorporated when you started your own practice?
Well, in Ohio, we had the standard commoditized, electrical muscle stimulation, hot packs, and ultrasound. That's what. Which
the majority of, which a lot of places still use today. I mean,
and they're using that because insurance pays for that, right? So if you're in that, we were a high insurance office.
Okay.
So I didn't know how to bill out insurance. And so I didn't even take insurance when I first started. I just said, hey, the treatments are $60. And, my first modality was a hot pack. That's what I used. And then I probably after that was Graston tools. And then after that, I think I had my first class 3 laser, which was cold laser, which graduated to a hot laser, a warm laser, class 4 laser. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And now we have in each office, we have over $100,000 worth of technology, as you know, to help people get results that they're looking for. And we keep adding technology. I mean, you were just at that conference there at the Parker seminar in Las Vegas. And I just think about the calls you get, and you say, "Hey, Dad, I come across this new technology. What do you think about this?" And we'll troubleshoot. And if vice versa, I'll contact you and say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And if it seems like it's really profound, makes a profound impact, then we'll get it. But there's a lot of therapies out there. Just as for everyone that's good, there's probably 2 or 3 that are not so good and not as effective. So we don't even bother with those. So we're always looking for if we can find something that's going to be profoundly impactful on health, we like to get it. And so now we just have a myriad of different technologies, but it's really not so much the technologies that's important. The importance is really knowing where to work. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Precisely knowing where to work. I mean, anybody can buy technology and just slap it on the area that's painful, but they won't be getting the results, or sometimes they'll make people worse because that's not the real true area to work. And that's the beauty of the Taylor method, is having the confidence and a level of confidence and certainty that, hey, I know that if I fix this area, it's going to profoundly impact this area and make it feel better and help the person get the results they're looking for.
Yeah, you can dive into all the settings of the technology, like
even the different settings you could test to figure out how many hertz, how many watts, what's the settings, how many time, what's the time? Because if you're not using that correctly as well, you can overdo it. And trust me, I learned through the school of hard knocks. A lot of my mistakes in the past, of all the mistakes that I've made that have not been beneficial for the patient. And that's why they call it a practice and not a perfect, because you're practicing. Yeah.
And what technology to use, where to use it, right? And then how deep to go on it.
Right.
That's huge. Now I got to just share a personal story. Growing up, if there's anything I kind of learned about you growing up, is that you always came back home with something new. All the time, from different seminars, and then it was just really a joy to watch you incorporate that in your practice, like right off the bat. And man, once you launched some new techniques and technology, you started taking on all these different types of patients with all these cases, just all these conditions that the standard chiropractor just doesn't really see, because that's not what they're really treating or targeting. So what was that like, when you started incorporating all the technology, and then all these people started coming in with all of these different conditions? I mean, was that overwhelming? Was it exciting? All of the above?
No, it was really exciting. And there's a lot of enthusiasm thing, because I knew that they weren't finding hope elsewhere. So it just, I'd be like rubbing my hands together, excited to say, hey, let's see how we can help you, And so it was exciting a lot for me and it's still exciting to get cases that are difficult and challenging, and being a detective and trying to figure out, okay, what is it this person's going to need to help them get back on their feet as soon as possible. It's an ongoing, and it will be until the day I do my last adjustment on this earth. I'm still going to be learning and growing and trying to figure out how to do things better, because we'll never have arrived. And any doctor that thinks they've arrived, I think you should really consider, wow, this is not healthy, just because the body, God has made the body so incredibly complex and a wonder and amazement that we'll never really be able to truly figure out everything, how it works. I mean, we gain experience with each person that we work with, but there's always different mixes, and this is why you need to be humble when you practice, because you don't know all the answers, and all you can do is your best and just see how the body responds. Our job isn't really, although we're always striving to help patients get results, that's really not our job. Is to help balance out as much as possible and just help them achieve as much results and relief as possible, but you never know what's going to happen. All we do is just do our part to balance the body out. But often when you do that, you see some pretty profound things happen in people's health and shifts that they make.
Wow. Here's another story. This is, I'll never forget this. I remember when you came home one day after after a seminar learning about gluten. So, you learned about gluten, and you and mom, I mean, we always had really healthy meals growing up. I mean, mom just made phenomenal meals, and you had us eat a lot of like healthy things growing up. I mean, my brothers and I, we were eating, eggs and tomatoes and salad for breakfast, and, but I'll never forget after you came home after a gluten seminar, and all of a sudden you said, Hey guys, we're done eating bread. We're not eating pasta anymore, pizza.
Well, we're done eating gluten. We still had gluten-free options, but that's how you took it.
No, I mean, that's like, because we did go to Costco Pizza, we had Costco Pizza.
Oh yeah, we had to greatly modify the things that we normally eat.
We were kind of getting into a regular habit with that. We were getting used to having Costco pizzas and Whole Foods.
What about bagels? We always had bagels and too on Sunday mornings.
Some Subway sandwiches after church, those sandwiches. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's done. And we actually started mixing out dairy too. But I noticed like a lot of my acne went away, a lot of my bloated inflammation, So, that's an example of just how you're always.
And your brother Jonathan went from being the dunce in the class to the brightest in the class.
Jonathan went from having major, like crazy major ADHD to all of a sudden being a brilliant lawyer.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when you're eating the right foods, you're eating the wrong foods too.
Yeah. And then whatever you changed from a seminar, all of a sudden, you do a talk on it at South End, gluten, the silent killer, and you'd incorporate that with your patients. And so,
well, doctor means teacher, right? We should be always teaching, and that's what you're doing tonight. You're giving this knee talk at the South End. What was that?
Shoulder.
Oh, you're doing a shoulder talk. And you have over 40 people that are registered and coming. I'm so proud of you. That's awesome. They're coming for this dinner talk. And
what a blessing it is to be able to do that,
And what a blessing it is to learn something new and then pass it on to your patients and show them, the stuff that you're learning. They appreciate that. And this is, and then teaching them what they can do to avoid problems. If you can help people avoid what you treat, man, how powerful is that?
Yeah, and how do you incorporate nutritional changes in food into your food, for example, and supplements? I mean, is that a big part of what you do?
Yeah, I mean, if somebody's eating inflammatory foods that are causing them inflammation, in other words, it's contributing to their pain, you can work on them till the cows come home in regards to their scar tissue, and they'll get better, but just to a limited effect. When they make the shifts in the diet, wow, we see some great shifts that happen. That's why I love working when somebody gets on a plan where they're out to get rid of their pain, but they also want to lose about 20 pounds. And they get on the metabolic weight loss program that we have, and they cut out all the carbs, and they're just eating primarily protein and vegetables and doing intermittent fasting. And so much of that pain is just like gone when you combine the Taylor method of breaking up scar tissue while they're cleaning up their diet at the same time. Isn't it powerful to see the profound impacts when you do that? You still get results without making changes in the diet, but when you really add the diet component, wow, you can see some really, really neat, amazing things happen, transformations in people's health when they get on the right foods. And then also if they get on the right supplements as well.
Now, you mentioned the layers. You said something about layers when someone is going through the Taylor method. So So what are the layers that you're evaluating? And then what are the layers that you're like addressing and treating?
Yeah. So anytime they have an injury, a trauma, an accident, fall, or even just micro trauma sitting at a desk daily or activities of daily living, you'll start to create some scar tissue where those fibers will separate. It repairs by laying down this scar tissue, this matted tissue. Now the tissue doesn't function quite as well. And then people re-injure those, and then they get another layer, and it just compounds and snowballs, and it becomes more complicated. They have compensatory patterns that they've had to respond to the injury at hand, and it just becomes a big mess. And this is why we tell people right off the bat, if you just been injured, you had some type of trauma or in a car accident, get in the day of the injury. You can cut your treatment down by at least half, wouldn't you say, as far as what you've seen? The longer they wait with that, the more complicated it becomes. That white shirt that you're wearing, you spill some glass of red wine on that or some grape juice. If you take that shirt off right away and scrub it, you'll get that stain out. But if you just let it sit and you wait and you procrastinate and that shirt will be ruined because of that. You won't be able to get that stain out. Same with the scar tissue and the muscles. When you create damage there, if you can get that to heal properly and have that scar tissue, instead of lining up like this, more like this, that muscle is going to function better, and they're going to have a lot less pain and less problems in the future. But unfortunately, most of the people that come in, they come in with days, weeks, months, even years of neglected scar tissue. And the longer they've neglected it and not really treated it properly, the longer it takes to get back to where they should be.
So would you say that primary layer that you have focused on addressing all these years has been scar tissue?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, a lot of this just adhesive scar tissue that's not been addressed, and these imbalances that occur.
And just a quick side note on the car accidents. I mean, how many times have you noticed when a patient has come in with a major neck issue or a back issue, and then they've told you, have they told you, hey, I got treated after my car accident, and then you ask them how are they treated, and I got adjusted all the time and got some electrical stimulation, and that's pretty much it, right?
That's not addressing the scar tissue.
But they've had problems years down the line,
Right. My last patient last night, dear sweet lady, she and her husband are in. I was going over the X-rays with them. She comes in with back pain, but the neck was really erect. Back in 1990, she and her husband were jogging alongside of the road. A car ran over them, and she had some major damage that occurred, and her neck is so degenerated and so problematic, all from that accident.
Wow.
And she was never really properly addressed, and nobody really properly worked on the scar tissue, and now it's affecting her three decades later. We're seeing the effect of that, and the problems in the neck, yet it's causing pain in the lower back. So
wow,
there's an example of
incredible.
Of these traumas that people aren't getting properly taken care of, and then it bites them later on, sometimes decades later.
Now you also deal with a lot of knee problems, right? Now, even for those patients that have tears in their knees or bone on bone knees, I mean, obviously you're not doing surgery on these patients. It's not in your scope, and the patients know that too, but you're getting great results with these people who have bone on bone knees and torn structures in the knees that just really don't want to reduce the risk of getting surgery, right?
Right. Yeah.
So how do you address that? How does the scar tissue tie in? Does the scar tissue tie into that? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Well, the scar tissue does, and then using the technology in the right places to help your body make its own stem cell has a big part to do with that.
Wow.
So I think about this patient that came to see me about a year and a half ago. She couldn't speak any English. She had horrible knee pain. She cleaned houses, and so she couldn't work or survive because of the knee pain. She went to the medical doctor. It was bone on bone, and they wanted to do a knee replacement, but she just she was more naturally minded, didn't want to do that. Comes to the office. We took some x-rays. Sure enough, it was a bad case of bone on bone, and she was in bad shape. She was in so much pain. We started a course of treatments, about 12 visits. I think it was 12 or 18 visits, one of the two. But when she was done, she was pain-free. She and her daughter had come in. Now, after that, I hadn't seen her in about a year or so. It's always recommended to do the upkeep because it's always best. But I just saw the daughter. She came in last week for, she was having some issues. And so she came in. I said, hey, how's your mom doing? Mom is still pain-free. A year later, I mean, this is a year later. This is not a usual case. She hasn't been getting any maintenance, but the orthotics and the treatments alone that we did a year ago was enough to propound her and give her, project her forward enough where she's still pain-free a year later. And that's the power that the body has, the ability to heal itself. It has the ability to heal on its own, to repair itself when it is stimulated properly, and when you give it the right nutrition and you take care of the scar tissue, and it has that ability. Not everybody can do that because of their different levels of health and genetics and other factors. But I mean, that's the kind of results you can see when you take care of the scar tissue and use the technology in the right areas. And you see it all the time in your practice, in the practice there at Torrance, right?
Yeah.
So encouraging.
Mm-hmm. Well, would you say there are any other really important layers to consider when it comes to, addressing a patient, taking a patient through the Taylor method? You mentioned scar tissue. Any other layers that you want to touch on or emphasize? There's three sources of stress. You have the physical, you have the adhesive scar tissue, vertebrae out of alignment, imbalances. You have chemical stressors such as the food you're eating, environmental factors and whatnot, drugs that people are taking, injections they're getting. And then you have the mental or spiritual component as well, with just the thoughts, the wrong thoughts and stressors, and not handling things properly in that manner, that also affects them. So all of those factors can put stress on the body and put somebody in a weakened, painful state. So if you can address those, then you can see some great changes and healing that takes place in the body. Mm-hmm. And how long have you noticed it usually takes a patient to get better?
Typically, for every year they've had typically on a general rule of thumb that we've used, that this is generally speaking, for every year that they've had a condition or a problem, it's about a month of intensive care to get out of that. So if they've had a year, they've had three years that they've been dealing with it, you're looking at, minimum of 3 months of intensive care to address that.
See,
Okay.
that's a. I remember you saying that a while back, but it's a good refresher to hear you say that. Because what it does is it sets realistic expectations, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because people, we live in a day and age where people want things quick, really fast. They want the results right now.
Right.
And that you educate each patient on that. It may take some time. But overall, would you say that the results are pretty immediate as far as them?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you see that. If you get it right, it's pretty amazing how fast people get better. And the profound impact, just even with one treatment, is great. And sometimes that one treatment can last for somebody for 6 months or longer. You just never know. But as a general rule of thumb, it takes time to really get down to all the bottom layers. But some people want just relief. Some want to feel better. Some want the symptoms gone. Some want to be enjoying optimal health. Mm-hmm. We ask them, what are your goals? And we're just here to serve you in whatever capacity you want us to help you with.
Yeah. And we're just kind of scratching the surface of all this here. There's so many things else that come to my mind. But I wanted to actually ask you this. I mean, what was it like just opening up so you opened up the first business, right, in California, and, we've been here for 25 years now, coming up on 26 this year, right?
26, right?
Yeah. And, when you moved to Florida and opened up another practice, let me ask you this. What did you want to focus on differently this time opening up after all your years of just learning and experience and wisdom? Because you said, hey, when I first opened up my practice, I didn't have a clue about, what a practice is like and how to run a business. But from more of a patient care standpoint, what have you done differently upon your second opening here in Florida in regards to just taking care of the patient? How are you going into it differently?
Well, when you think about it, 30, from all those years later, you have decades of all the mistakes you've made. The beauty of being able to open up from scratch and start brand new is I think about all the dumb mistakes that I've made and ways I didn't do things right in Torrance just because of ignorance or just not thinking things through properly. And I just think about, I had a brand new start to start something brand new without, as best as possible, without making the same errors that I made in Torrance. And so really wanted to focus on just the quality of care that we provided and focus on and just providing an experience for someone that's just exceptional, that they walk into the office and they just know they're in the right place. This is why we invested so much in the clinic and the technology. And your mom just came in and just beautified everything, turned a grungy looking office, and we transformed it into something beautiful. And just really it's just like you can just exhale when you walk in the office. It's so beautiful and relaxing. And then working on it's a lot of work, a startup, but now having the knowledge of how to do it properly, it's fun. It's fun starting out. It wasn't intimidating or scary, and I knew that this is where God was leading us to, our family. And so where God guides, He provides. We knew that this was the right place for us, and I knew He was going to take care of us. And just all we had to do was just focus on being the best that we can be, and just offer the best care that we could possibly offer, and everything else will take care of itself.
Well, on a personal note, I mean, I thank the Lord for just all the times that you helped just me growing up, and all of us just recover quicker, and just all the endless issues that we had, not only physically and from a health standpoint, but just spiritually as well. And I don't know, coming out of school as a chiropractor, I mean, I think back, I don't know what I would be doing now. I don't know what I would be doing without your leadership and guidance. And I'm just eternally beyond grateful just for all you've done for me growing up, and just that drive of, hey, what's new out there? How can we get better results? And most importantly, seeing your just genuine desire. Hey, how can we just be a blessing and how can we be a real servant to these patients? Which is even more important than getting the results. The results come with that, but that's the heart of it and the mindset going into it. And I really took that, have taken that from you always. So, with that appreciation said, I mean, and there's so much more I could say. This is exciting, because this is like the start of it. There's so many different topics that you and I can dive into, and we need to. I'm excited to address or discuss our next topic. And is there anything else you want to say in closing on the Taylor method? itself.
Well, I would like to. I'm just thrilled the just how you have taken the torch and taken it to another level. I mean, you said me bringing you up, but in many ways you brought me up, in regards to just seeing your work ethic, your diligence. I mean, you were the youngest in your class. How old were you when you entered chiropractic school? You're 19 years old. I mean, I was 23 years old. I mean, you're a teenager going into chiropractic school with people that are in their 20s and 30s and beyond. And how intimidating is that? I mean, you met the challenge, and you not only that, but you graduated in top of your class. You gave your commencement speech at your graduation ceremony. And then you come out of practice and you're just taking the office to another level in regard to serving the patients. And you have far exceeded anything that I've done at your age. And I'm just excited about how you're going to take the Taylor method to another level, even long after I'm gone. And I'm really excited about that. And I'm excited also about your brother Caden graduating here in 2 years.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And joining the practice here in Florida. And I'm just so proud of you guys and excited to see where this will continue. And I think as we have the focus of continuing to serve the patient and do the best that we can for them, that it'll continue to improve and it'll continue to excel in the future.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really excited for what lies ahead. And, again, my endless love and appreciation for you. This is exciting because as Caden comes along, I really just feel like things are getting started, just getting started. I mean, I
feel that way too.
I feel like every day there's something new and they're just, it's exciting to see just, what's going to happen here as things continue. So let's kind of leave patients with a little cliffhanger here. What shall we discuss next here? Far as what are we going to dive into?
I think one of the things that people have that affects so many people and they want to avoid a total replacement surgery is knee pain. I think that's something that we can be talking about. Maybe that's my thoughts or even maybe shoulder pain. That's another area, or even costochondritis is a big one that people come into the office with no answers for, and conventional medicine has no answers for. So I think one of those three topics would be a good one to start off with. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait.
Well, hey, thanks for the interview time, and it's been fun.
Oh, this has been awesome. Yeah.
Go out there tonight and do a great job and, teaching patients about shoulder pain. And I wish I could be a fly on the wall and hear what you have to say and eat some of that good food that you're going to be. Who's catering it? Is it
El Pollo Inca? El Pollo
Inca. Oh, yeah. The Lomo Saltado.
Lomo Saltado. It's going to be so good. Oh, my mouth is already watering.
Great.
And there's no gluten in that either.
Yeah, none at all.
All right, Dad. Very good.
Thanks, son. We'll see you.
Stop the recording. Hold on.
Great show.
Can you stop the recording?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right. I forgot I'm the one.
Thank you for listening to the Taylor Method for Pain-Free Living podcast. For more information about the Taylor Method and how you can find lasting pain relief, visit www.drderektaylor.com. That's www.drderektaylor.com.